one particularly good. Well, just like Angelina Jolie, 23,000 Aussies carry a high-risk mutation that predisposes them to breast and ovarian cancer. And new research out today shows half of these women would not have a preventative double mastectomy, preferring to take the risk instead. Well, to find out more, we're joined now by the study's lead researcher, Professor Kelly Phillips from Melbourne's Peter Mac Cancer Centre. Good morning to you, Professor.
Good morning, Lisa.
This obviously is a very tough decision for women to take, having your breasts removed. How much of a difficult decision is it?
Well, I think you're right, Lisa. These are very complex and very personal decisions for women. And what's very important is that women have all the information at their disposal and have the opportunity to make those decisions in a fully informed and very well considered way and in conjunction with their clinicians.
How much of an effect do you think Angelina Jolie's decision to have her breasts removed because she carries that gene?
Well, our study that's published today in the Medical Journal of Australia actually took place before Angelina Jolie made her announcement. And so that won't have had an impact on our research findings. What we found in our study was that many women with these gene mutations were not undertaking preventive interventions, such as taking medication that reduces cancer risk or having surgery to reduce cancer risk. Now, it's possible that following Ms Jolie's announcement that there may be an increase in the uptake of these preventive interventions, but our study really predated that announcement.
Right. Cost must be a factor for these women, though.
Well, cost may be a factor. There may be a whole range of factors, and actually the next phase of our research will be to do one-on-one interviews with women who have not taken up these preventive interventions and also with their clinicians, because remembering that these decisions are really made in collaboration with a woman's clinician, to try and figure out exactly what the barriers are to undertaking prevention strategies, because some of those barriers may be barriers that we can intervene in, either in a clinical setting or perhaps in a health policy setting.
How do women actually find out that they are carrying the gene?
So women who have a family history of breast or ovarian cancer should discuss that family history with their GP and ask whether referral to a specialist family cancer centre for further advice would be warranted. And if so, those women can attend a family cancer centre and have their risk very formally assessed, and that might include genetic testing for one of these two or both of these gene mutations.
So if women do find that they have the gene mutations, what generally is the advice? Is a double mastectomy recommended?
So what we generally do is that we tell women about the range of options that are out there and what the pros and cons of those options might be. And different women will value the pros and cons in different ways, and then women make their own decisions in collaboration with their clinicians. But the options do include risk-reducing surgery. So for breast cancer, that would be removal of both breasts, usually with an immediate reconstruction operation. For ovarian cancer, that would mean removal of the ovaries and fallopian tubes. And we also know that if we remove ovaries and fallopian tubes before a woman has reached menopause, that also halves her breast cancer risk. In addition to those surgical options, there is also a medical option, which is to use the drug tamoxifen, which is a tablet taken once a day for 5 years. And we know that about halves breast cancer risk as well. So that can be a good option for women who decide that they don't want to undergo the surgical options.
So those
then,
options
of course,
are there?
Yes.
Sorry, please
There's
continue.
also the option. Yes, there's also, for women who choose not to undertake preventative strategies, of course, those women would be advised to undergo screening for breast cancer in the absence of undertaking preventative strategies. Unfortunately, we don't have good screening tests for ovarian cancer, and we don't recommend ovarian cancer screening for that reason.
So those screenings for breast cancer, that would be a mammogram and an ultrasound?
Well, generally for these women who are at very high risk because they have a gene mutation, we would certainly be recommending annual mammograms while they still have breast tissue. But many of these women, if they are under 50, would also undergo full MRI screening of their breasts. And in the absence of clinicians, would recommend an ultrasound in addition to mammography.
Okay, Professor, we really do appreciate your time this morning, and obviously a very difficult issue for women, but we thank you for spelling out all of the options for us this morning.
You're welcome.
Yeah, important to have all those options, isn't it?
It certainly is.
And obviously women who are worried about it need to go and see someone rather than, I guess you can sit back and you go, oh, well, I'm just going to do that if this happens, and plan it out like that. But to really go and see someone who knows what they're talking about is vital.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a classic case of a situation where knowledge is power, because then you know what to do going forward.
Yeah.
And of course, whether it's preventative surgery or a regular mammogram test, it's important for women to remain vigilant about the importance of early detection and swift action when it does come to breast cancer. I admitted on air last week that I'm currently a year overdue for my regular breast cancer screening, my mammogram and my ultrasound. And this week I'm going to follow through. I'm going to have that mammogram live on air, and I have to thank the incredible feedback and support that I've had since I announced that. And the great thing is, so many women have said to me, I'm exactly like you, I've put it off and I've put it off, and because I heard what you're doing this morning and I saw what happened to Amy Robach on our sister program Good Morning America, who did her mammogram and then discovered at the age of 40, with no history in her family of breast cancer, that she has got breast cancer and is going to have a double mastectomy as a result, because it's so advanced. So I will be doing that this week, and Georgie is coming along and having her mammogram as well.
That's a great thing. We're all behind you 100%.
Very important.
It is indeed. Well, coming up, should overweight